Welcome to the Deep Dive.
It's great to be here.
Today, we're diving into a really intriguing collection of sources, articles, notes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they give a pretty candid glimpse into, political commentary, how the public sees things.
And how these political figures, their roles, seem to shift over time.
Exactly.
So our mission, really, is to unpack all this material, find those surprising insights about communication, relevance.
Mm-hmm. And the kind of impression these figures leave behind.
Okay, so the main players in our sources today, we've got John McCain, Elizabeth Warren.
And centrally, Sarah Palin comes up quite a bit.
Right. And you'll see how topics that seem totally separate, like foreign policy and fast food wages.
Yeah, how they actually connect in some really unexpected ways.
So where do we start? The immediate context in one source is a discussion around President Obama at the time ordering airstrikes in Iraq.
Right. This was a pretty tense moment. You had ISIS really gaining ground, threats of genocide. It was serious.
And the sources kick off by highlighting John McCain's take back then.
Yeah, he basically said, look, airstrikes alone, they're not going to be enough. They won't cut it.
And understanding why McCain's constant presence, talking foreign policy,
Yeah.
why that's so important is key, right?
Absolutely. Because, as these sources point out, every single time McCain was on TV, pontificating about the Middle East or leadership, you have to remember who he chose as his running mate.
Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin, the person he apparently envisioned taking over the presidency if he couldn't serve.
That connection.
Yeah.
It seems simple, but the sources really dig into the tension there, right? It kind of sets up her whole later story.
It really does. It's foundational.
Okay, so that's the setup. Then the material shifts focus quite dramatically.
Yeah, it brings in a sound clip of Elizabeth Warren.
And what's she talking about?
She's talking about fast food workers, really going to bat for them.
Championing their right to a livable wage. Is that the phrase used?
That's the one. And she talks about being proud to be alongside them on the picket line. Very passionate.
Okay, and this is where, like you said, the unexpected stuff really starts happening. Because the material then pivots to Sarah Palin's reaction to Warren's comments.
And the word used to describe it in the sources is incoherent. Highly incoherent.
So what does she actually say?
Well, she starts questioning why liberals would even, care about fast food wages.
Okay.
Suggesting they think fast food joints are like of the devil or something. It's odd phrasing.
Of the devil, wow.
Yeah, and that liberals want to send these workers to purgatory till they all go vegan.
Purgatory, vegan, that's quite a leap.
It is. And then she contrasts it, saying her view is that minimum wage jobs, they're not lifetime gigs, they're stepping stone.
Okay, that last part sounds more conventional, but the first part.
Exactly. The logic getting there is, well, it's what the sources call incoherent. It raises a lot of questions.
I bet. And the reactions from people who heard it at the time, what did the sources say?
They're pretty blunt. One person is quoted wondering if there was some type of drug or alcohol thing going on with her.
Seriously?
Yeah. And another just flat out says, I had no idea Sarah Palin was dumb before hearing this specific clip.
Wow. So it was a really jarring moment for people.
Definitely seems like it. It really landed badly, at least for these observers.
And the sources actually call this clip a Rubicon for her.
Yeah, a Rubicon, like a point of no return, a moment where her public image really shifted, maybe even for her biggest fans.
Suggesting what, like a heightened breakdown? Or something else?
Well, the sources throw out possibilities, maybe a breakdown, or maybe it just showed, quote, how little she cares about her fans. Either way, a really pivotal moment.
So this Rubicon moment, there's more context to it, isn't there? Where did this clip even surface?
Okay, yeah, this is pretty wild. This wasn't just some random interview. This was played on her own channel.
Our own channel.
The Sarah Palin channel, part of her online video network. People were paying money, a subscription fee for this content.
Wait, people paid to watch that commentary?
Apparently so, which makes the next part even more striking. The sources suggest it was totally off the cuff.
Like, no script, no teleprompter.
Seems like it. Described as clearly just her, like, off the cuff of her head. Maybe just a spontaneous effort to, make some content for these people. Otherwise, they're going to cancel their memberships.
Wow. So putting out unprepared, incoherent commentary on a paid platform, that's quite something.
It really adds another layer to why that moment might have been seen as such a turning point. The lack of polish, maybe? For a paid service?
Right. Okay, so fast forward a bit. A lot of the commentary now, as the sources note, kind of dismisses Palin. totally irrelevant, a joke.
That's the general tone later on.
But the material also gives us this really important reverse history lesson.
Yeah.
Which feels vital to understanding, how political perceptions actually work, how fast they can change.
It's crucial, because you have to remember the backstory. Well, connecting the dots, the sources remind us it was actually McCain's own strategist, a guy named Schmidt.
Oh, the one from the movie, who later said he regretted it.
That's the one. He apparently first had the idea to pick her. McCain, quote, happily went with it, and Bill Kristol supposedly plucked her out of Alaska.
So it wasn't just McCain's solo decision. There were key establishment figures behind it.
Right, and you have to remember the initial reaction.
Which was?
Huge excitement. The sources emphasize that, quote, everybody was really excited about this at first.
It's almost hard to square that with what came later, isn't it?
Totally. Because as the narrative shifted, she became, and this is another quote, such an extravagant embarrassment that it just wasn't tenable.
An extravagant embarrassment. Strong words.
Very. But here's a really surprising bit the sources highlight.
Okay.
Despite all that, even through 2012, people were talking about her seriously.
Seriously, like as a potential candidate or major player. After everything.
Apparently so, which contrasts so sharply with how she was later described, mind-bogglingly incompetent.
So there was this lag between the perceived incompetence and people actually stopping taking her seriously.
Seems like it. And the sources note that if you did point out the incompetence earlier on, you'd often face accusations of being condescending or classist or sexist.
Okay. So pointing out the issues got framed as an attack on her identity or background.
That's what the material suggests. It even includes this pretty cutting comparison.
Go ahead.
Comparing her and Rick Perry as people who, quote, were created to make George W. Bush look like a genius.
Ouch. That's harsh.
It is, but it captures that later perspective pretty vividly.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What are the big takeaways here? This whole deep dive. It really shows how one moment, seemingly spontaneous.
Like that Palin clip.
Yeah, can just open up these huge conversations about, like, political relevance, communication, or lack thereof.
And just how unpredictable public perception can be.
It really pulls back the curtain on the interplay between, the media, the political figures themselves, their audiences.
And how fast those stories, those narratives can just completely flip, even for people once seen as really serious contenders.
Absolutely.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. We've gone through how Sarah Palin, even after being called this extravagant embarrassment in our sources, was still being talked about seriously years later.
Right. Years after the VP run.
So what does that tell us? What does it suggest about the kind of criteria or maybe the filters that the public and the media use when they're judging how serious or competent a political figure is?
Both back then and maybe even now.
Exactly. Are the filters working? What does it mean for how we evaluate public figures and, well, public discourse today?
A lot to chew on there. Definitely food for thought.